by the violation square. So this will become equal to 640. So you can find out how much is the static penalty denoted by PS, and that is coming to be equal to 640. So according to static penalty, so this particular the value, the numerical value for the penalty is coming to be equal to 640. Okay. Now I'll be going for the dynamic penalty. Now here, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, so t equals to 1. So this is the expression for the dynamic penalty. That is PD equals to C multiplied by T raised to the power alpha summation k equals to 1 to 2 mod value of phi kx raised to the power beta t equals to 1. Let me consider alpha equals to 2, beta equals to your 3. Okay. Now, as I told that there is no violation for the first functional constant. However, there is a violation for the second functional constant. Let us see how to determine. So this particular the dynamic penalty. Now here we take c equals to 10 say. For the first functional constant, so there is no violation. Okay, so this is a feasible functional constant. So penalty term is put equal to 0 plus ct raised to the power alpha. C equals to 10, t equals to 1 for the first iteration, alpha equals to 2 here. Then violation is minus 8, mod value of minus 8 raised to the power beta, beta is equals to 3. And if you calculate, this will become equal to 51200. Okay. So the dynamic penalty will become 51200. This is the amount of dynamic penalty. I hope this is clear to all of you. But if there is any doubt, I'll be discussing within a few minutes. I'll give you enough time to discuss. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss and how to find out the adaptive penalty that is denoted by TA. Now here for this adaptive penalty, let me take beta 1 equals to 2, beta 2 equals to 3, and initially let me take, so this particular lambda t that is equals to your 10. So these are all user defined values. Are you getting my point? Now how to modify this lambda with the number of iterations, that I'm going to discuss. And as you know, the adaptive penalty, that is PA, equals to summation k equals to 1 to 2 lambda kt phi kx square. Phi kx is the amount of violation. Now here lambda t plus 1 I'm going to calculate for the first functional constant where there is no violation of the functional constant. But for the second functional constant, there is a violation. And there also I'm going to consider, I'm going to calculate how much should be lambda t plus 1. Now here beta 1 is equals to 2, beta 2 equals to 3. Okay, and you can understand that for the functional constant where there is no violation, I'm going to put less amount of penalty. On the other hand, for the functional constant where there is a violation, I'm going to put more amount of penalty. And you can find out the numerical values. I'll show you. For this particular problem, your lambda t plus 1 for the first functional constant will become half multiplied by 10, that is equals to 5. And lambda t plus 1 for the second functional constant where there is a violation, it will be 3 multiplied by 10, that is equals to 30. Now what is the amount of violation? According to this adaptive penalty, okay, so according to this adaptive penalty, there is a violation. Violation means here there is a deviation between the left hand side and the right hand side. If you remember the mathematical expression of the functional constant, not the violation, but you can find out the deviation between the left hand side and the right hand side. And according to this adaptive penalty, so I'm just going, although there is no violation for the first functional constant, but there is a deviation between the left hand side and the right hand side. Now the left hand side, if you calculate, x1 is 2.0, right hand side is 3.0. So the left hand side is 5.0 and the right hand side is 9.5. Okay. So not the violation, but the deviation between the left hand side and the right hand side is 5.0 minus 9.5, that is minus 4.5. Similarly, if you calculate the deviation corresponding to the second functional constant, the left hand side is nothing but, as I've already calculated, is nothing but 7 and the right hand side is 15. So the deviation as well as violation is how much? That is 7.0 minus 15.0, that is equals to minus 8.0. Okay, so left hand side minus right hand side. You can also use right hand side minus left hand side. There is no problem. Okay, because I'm considering either the mod value or the square value. So these are all the deviation between the left hand side and the right hand side. And using that, you can find out the penalty term according to adaptive penalty is nothing but, so this lambda is 5. So I am using 5 here, multiplied by minus 4.5 square plus this lambda t plus 1 for the second functional constant is 30 multiplied by minus 8.0 square. And if you sum them up, you'll be getting 2021.25. Now you see, for the same problem, the amount of penalty I have calculated using 3 different methods. You can use any one, but of course, this adaptive penalty or the dynamic penalty are going to perform better compared to your static penalty. Now, this is the way actually you can find out. So, how you can find out the penalty values, and once you have got the penalty values, you modify the fitness either by adding or subtracting. So, this particular fitness depending on the nature of the problem. And once you've got this particular modified fitness, now you use the your GA operators on the modified the fitness. So you'll have to use on the modified fitness only, that is on the capital FIX. Now this process will go on and go on for a large number of iterations. Then there is a possibility that your genetic algorithm will be able to find out the globally optimal solution through a large number of iterations. Now let me repeat, most of the real world problems are constraint optimization problem. And this method which I discussed, okay, you'll have to use if you want to solve the constraint optimization problem using the genetic algorithm. Now I'll give you some time, like if you have some doubt, you can ask me one after another, okay? So one after another, you can unmute, and if you have any doubt, whatever I discussed, you are free to ask me. I'll try my level best to clear your doubts. Now you can start. If you have any doubt, please.
So while explaining the adaptive penalty, you mentioned lambda. Does lambda have a name? Is that a function or what is that?
Lambda is a function of t. T is nothing but the iteration number, iteration counter. Okay. And this lambda is nothing but a constant. Initially, user will have to define one constant value, and then through a large number of iteration, it is going to be updated. So initially it is user defined, but lambda will be a function of t, that is the iteration. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
So,
one at a time. One at a time.
So for this adaptive penalty, adaptive penalty, we calculated the penalty for the second iteration, right?
Yeah. First iteration, that is a user defined value. Okay. So we start calculating, that is lambda t plus 1. So it starts from the second iteration. You are right. Next, any other doubt? Please don't feel shy. If you have any doubt, try to clear it.
Sir,
Please.
sir, could you please once more explain how we take the values of beta 1 and beta 2 for calculation of adaptive?
Now, beta 1 and beta 2, these are user-defined numerical values, but there are some conditions to be fulfilled. That is, beta 1 is not equals to beta 2. Okay, and individually, beta 1 and beta 2 should be greater than 1, like 1.5, 2.0, 3.0, not less than 1. If you use a value less than 1, the very purpose of using, so this particular beta 1, beta 2 will not be solved. It has to be more than 1. Are you getting my point? The way I have written that particular expression, you can see, if you want to put less penalty for the valid solution and more penalty for the invalid solution, then beta 1 and beta 2 ought to be put equal greater than 1. Now you can see this expression, you can understand. It is 1 by beta 1. Okay, for if there is a violation, and whenever there is, if there is no violation, and whenever there is a violation, definitely penalty has to be more. So it has to be beta 2. Are you getting my point? And beta 1, beta 2 should be more than 1. You can understand from here. And generally, we do not put beta 1 is equals to beta 2. Okay?
Sir.
Next.
Sir.
Sir.
One at a time.
Sir, in dynamic penalty, how to take T1, T alpha and beta?
In case of dynamic penalty, just a minute, I'll show you the PPT. Yes. How to take the value of
T alpha and beta, sir.
So T is what? T is the iteration number.
Yes,
Initially it is equals to 1, then T will be 2, 3, 4. GA iteration, number of generation. Alpha and beta, alpha generally we take more than 1. These are all thumb rules. You can take 1.5, 2, 2.5, and beta is also taken either 2 or more than 2. Okay. It should be greater than 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Next.
So we are taking the values for x1 and x2. So what will be the thumb rule, like on what basis we will take the values for x1 and x2?
For this hand calculation, I have taken one set of x1 and x2 lying within their respective ranges, that is 0 to 5. Now for this hand calculation, I have taken 3 and 2. You can also take 2 and 3 I have taken. You can take 4 and 1, there is no problem. So long as they are lying within their respective ranges for your hand calculation, there is no problem. Whenever we use a computer program in the computer, okay, we'll have to put that particular range for the variables, and GA variables will be able to take the values lying within their respective ranges. How to restrict that I've already discussed in the class, like how to find out the real value lying within their ranges. So those things I've already discussed. If you have missed that particular class, you listen to my lecture videos, previous lecture videos, which I've already put on the tray of Microsoft Teams. Okay?
Okay, sure, sir. And one more, sir. So in the dynamic method, you have calculated the deviation. So in the first, you have taken 0 plus 10 into 1 to the power 2, mod of minus 8 to the power cube. So how you are taking the 0, like how this 0 is coming?
For this static penalty and the adaptive penalty, okay, if there is no violation of the functional constraint, okay, that means the functional constraint has been satisfied. So there is no point of putting any penalty. Okay. Whereas in case of adaptive penalty, which I discussed at the end, what I do is, even if there is a valid solution, we put a small penalty. That is the principle which they adopted. The principle adopted by the proposer. It is not my own proposal. Okay. Some researchers proposed all such things, and after that, this concept was used extensively by the GA user. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other doubt?
Sir,
Sir,
yes, sir.
One after another. Please.
Just
Sir,
a small
so
clarification is needed. So in the static penalty,
Oh,
uh,
Abhinav, are you Abhinav?
yes, yes,
Tell
sir,
me.
yes, sir.
Tell me.
So in the static penalty, like you mentioned, we give different weightages to each individual functional constraints,
Yeah.
which you explained it with a good example.
Yeah.
But why aren't we doing the same thing in case of dynamic penalty? We could have taken different set of C's, and we could have given different weightage to each individual functional
See,
constraints.
what I discussed the principle of three different approaches: static penalty, dynamic penalty, and adaptive penalty. Okay. For the same problem, if you use these three approaches, okay, you'll find that dynamic penalty and adaptive penalty could be much better compared to the static penalty. There are three different approaches proposed by might be three different proposals. Are you getting my point? Now, let me repeat, for the same problem, very complicated problem, there is a possibility your dynamic penalty could be the best. My experience says dynamic penalty could be the best. Okay, there are three different approaches. Three different proposers have proposed their techniques. Okay, so I discussed all three available techniques in the literature. Okay, am I
Thank you,
clear?
sir.
Next is
Sir,
Rahul.
sir, for this dynamic penalty, you are saying ki it is the best in respect to the accuracy of result or the minimization possible?
Based in respect of ability to hit the globally optimal solution for the complicated objective functions. Okay.
Nearest to the solution. Can we say it is nearest to
You see,
solution?
for a very complicated, discontinuous, complicated objective function, highly nonlinear, okay, that will be the real test for a genetic algorithm. Okay, there my experience says dynamic penalty could be the best. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Next.
Sir,
Hello, sir.
while explaining the static penalty, you told there is a value CRK where it denotes the C value in the rth level violation for the kth constraint. Sir,
Exactly.
how to determine this level of violation?
Level of violation is actually based on the experience of the designer. Okay, based on, for example, say I'm designing an optimal gearbox. Okay, so I know the traditional principle of designing the gearbox. Okay, now I'll be using my own experience of designing the gearbox. There are certain functional constraints. Okay, now I'll have to decide what should be the CKR value for the 10 functional constraints. Some of the functional constraints could be very severe compared to the other. That means the importance of all the functional constraints may not be equally may not be equal. Am I clear?
Yes.
Next. Next. Who
sir.
could be the next?
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Yes,
Tell me.
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, you had said that the means a method like the three methods will give much better result if the global minima is achieved earlier or faster. And
No, not faster. I have not told faster. See, sometimes it becomes very difficult to reach the globally optimal solution, even for a genetic algorithm. Don't think that genetic algorithm is actually the best in the world. There are many other algorithms. So which I'll be discussing little bit.
Yes,
that
sir.
could be even much better compared to genetic algorithm. Okay. But genetic algorithm is strong enough to reach that globally optimal solution, even for a very complicated
Yes.
objective function. Okay. I'm not claiming
Sir, then
genetic
that-
algorithm is the best
Yes,
in
sir.
the world. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Sir,
next.
then, yes, sir. Based on that, then what will be the criteria for that? Like, if the penalty value that will be obtained will be higher for a particular method, then we will say that it will achieve the globally
there is
optimal
no such
solution.
guarantee. It is actually, see, GA is trying to move towards the globally optimal solution. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
there will be many such functional constraints which are going to oppose genetic algorithm to reach that globally optimal solution. Are you getting my point? But GA will still
Yes, sir.
try to reach the globally optimal solution, but there could be a violation, and different penalties are going to put a lot of pressure on genetic algorithm so that it cannot reach the globally optimal solution. But GA, with the help of its own operator, the strength of its own operator, will try its level best to reach the globally optimal solution. There is a lot of fighting so that GA
Yes,
can
sir.
reach that globally optimal solution. It is highly dynamic, lot of dynamic. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
And based on that, again, sir, that we obtained that the dynamic penalty is much higher than all of the penalties that we had obtained.
Huh.
Right, sir.
Huh.
So
That means if there is a violation, it is going to give more obstruction to the GA that don't come to this particular region. There is a chance that you'll not be getting feasible solution. So you see, sometimes let me take a very practical example. Now, almost in each week, you'll be getting one assignment in this particular course. There will be 3 tests. This is one situation. Another situation, very hypothetical. No assignment, no test, only lecture. How many of you will be attending my lecture? You tell me. There is no penalty, no functional constraint. Nobody will be listening to my lecture.
Yes,
On
sir.
the other hand, the moment I put one assignment at the end of each week, 3 tests throughout the semester, you are bound to follow my lecture, whether you like it or not, and I'm putting lot of penalties. Are you getting my point?
Yes,
If you
sir.
do not listen to my lecture, there will be lot of penalties. So
Yes,
you
sir.
are forced to do whether you like it or not, so that you can reach that globally optimal solution. You can gain much information of this particular subject, which could be helpful not only in your future studies, it will be helpful throughout your life. I hope you people will remember me throughout your life. Okay.
wonderful
Yes,
example,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Pardon? Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
Sir, just consider x1 and x2 as 4.5 and 5.
Okay.
So it will satisfy the first constraint.
Okay.
No, it won't satisfy the first constraint, but even though they don't satisfy, we don't have a deviation.
Now, you see, if there is no deviation, left hand side is equals to right hand side, then the deviation is 0.
Yes.
Okay, but whether there will be violation or not, that is decided by greater than, less than that particular sign. I hope there is no equal. There is no equal sign
It was
there.
an inequality.
So if it is inequality, although left hand side is equals to right hand side, okay, so there is no deviation. Deviation equals to 0, but 5 less than 5, it is contradicting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean second constraint will be contradicted, but
So according to the static penalty and your dynamic penalty, if there is a violation of the constraint, then only you put penalty. If there is no violation, don't put any penalty.
no,
Okay.
my question was does these methods efficiently take into consideration the inequalities? Like
See,
the first,
truly speaking, there will be equality constraint, inequality constraint. Okay. Inequality constraints are easier, as I told, compared to the equality. Okay. But the constraint which you mentioned is the inequality constraint.
Yes.
Okay. Now left hand side is 5, right hand side is 5. So according to the statement of the functional constraint, so 5 is actually less than 5, which is not acceptable.
Yes, yes.
Are you getting my point? So if
Yes.
it is not acceptable, you put some penalty. We do not want to reach that type of region. That type of solution we
No,
do not want.
I meant these methods only consider the deviation LHS minus RHS. But when these constraints are inequality
No,
constraints,
deviation is considered, only deviation is considered in case of adaptive penalty. Both deviation as well as violation are considered in case of static and dynamic penalty.
okay.
Am I clear?
So one more question, like
Yeah, please,
you said
please.
equality constraints are easier to compute as compared to
It is very
inequality.
simple. It is very simple. If I say
Uh-huh.
x1 plus x2 equals to 10,
Mhm.
it becomes very difficult to become x1 plus x2 is exactly equal to 10. Instead, if I say x1 plus x2 is greater than 10, there could be many such feasible solutions.
Real value numbers.
Are you
Okay.
getting my point? That
Yeah,
type of extra pressure is coming on me. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I hope you got the points. Okay.
Yes.
So you'll be getting your assignment 2 today. And once again, let me repeat assignment 1. I'm giving 2 more days, but I'm expecting 100% students would submit assignment 1. Okay. Are you getting me? There are 10 marks. Be careful about that. And your test will be held either on 24th September or 26th September. Okay. And those who did not register through ERP, complete your registration as early as possible. Are you getting my point? Particularly the students of knowledge-based system. Okay. Complete your registration as early as possible. Okay. Please help me because now in the course, there are around 200 students. I am in deep trouble. Help me. Okay. Otherwise,
Sir.
I'll be in too much trouble. Okay.
You got mute in between.
Okay. Let me stop here today. Okay.
Sir, just a confirmation, sir.
Yes.
Sir, just to confirm, we have to write the for the assignment 1. We have to write the 10th second part, right? Only that one.
Yes. Whatever information I have given, yeah, only that one. For evaluation, others are for practice. Okay. Okay. Let me stop here today. I have got another meeting.
Sir, it was 10th first part.
Pardon? For the soft computing, so far as I can remember, it was 10 first part. Yes, 10-1. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And for the knowledge-based system, it was 10 second one, 10-2. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So let me stop here. Let me stop today. Okay.
Thank you, sir.